Well, good morning, my friend. Monday morning. Welcome to the Pastor Podcast. Good to have you with me today as we start out the week. Hope that you had a good day yesterday in church. We had a wonderful day here at Maranatha Baptist Church. Again, people saved and baptized. That's always a good day. Never take for granted any amount of people being saved and baptized. Certainly, we always want more, but when God's saving souls, that's always a good sign in any church. I hope that you're planning on a good week. Going to be a rainy day here in the Oklahoma City area today and tomorrow. Then I think it's going to start drying up for a while. But I hope that you stay dry wherever you are. Have a great day, and let's certainly plan on serving the Lord together today. Hey, let me talk to you today about no accomplishment without a yoke. In Matthew 11:29, Jesus said, "Take my yoke upon you and learn of me. For I am meek and lowly in heart, and ye shall find rest unto your souls." I'm always amused by a younger generation who has built nothing, advising you that you don't have to work hard to please God or build something. I'm always amazed by that. My fear is that we have a younger generation who wants to play more, and I'm talking about in our church work, wants to play more than they want to work. And the end of their lives, they will find that they've built nothing and they've destroyed nearly everything that was given to them. Let me explain what I'm talking about. One of my main complaints about working too much that I hear about is working towards the ministry. Now, what's sad is these same people that criticize those who push God's people to work hard never criticize business people who work tireless hours to build a business. Why is it that pastors who criticize other pastors that push God's people to work hard never admonish the business person in their church who pays big tithes and how much they work? How come nobody gets on those who play a lot? And I'm talking about some of you preachers and some of you Christians who like to criticize some who are working hard in the ministry. How come you never get on those who play so much that they lose their children? You see, the answer is that these complaints are a revelation of their worldly heart that does not want to put effort into serving God. Anything that has ever been built has always taken hard work and tireless hours a week to make it happen. The great businesses in history were not built by people who worked 40 hours a week, but they were built by people who worked 80 to 90 hours a week, if not more, to build a successful business. You see, the great churches throughout history were not built by pastors or believers who played their way through life. They were built by people who lived to work for God and work with God to see something great built for his glory. Jesus says, "Take my yoke upon you." In other words, you can't please God without working with him. A close relationship with God, listen to me to this statement. A close relationship with God is never kindled by a playing and sitting generation that wants to play all the time, that never goes soul winning, that lives their worldly lifestyle. And I'm talking to some of those yahoos out there that want to criticize everybody for having standards. These worldly, beer drinking, wine drinking, worldly people want to criticize people who are trying to keep someone out of hell. And what they ought to do is just get right with God. You see, you develop the close relation. Don't tell me you've got a close relationship when you're sipping your wine and drinking your beer. Don't tell me you're close with God while you're out there playing. You're not close to God. You're close to the world and you're close to the devil. And that's the truth, and you know that. You see, you don't get to know somebody by playing with them. You get to know them by working with them. I dare say that the pastors who are the closest to God are the pastors who work tireless hours to build a church for God. When I say build a church, I'm not just talking about the size and numbers, but a strong church that's growing in its community. No pastor is going to build a church by going soul winning once a week. You're not going to do that. No church will grow that has more social activities than soul winning activities. Churches grow because God's people get in the yoke with God 24/7. I know this may not be a popular thought, but God always blesses those who work. Hey, those who want to criticize those of us who believe in soul winning and trying to build a church, why don't you criticize the church in the book of Acts? Go ahead, hypocrite. Go ahead, Pharisee. Why don't you tell me about that? Why don't you get on Jesus, who every day for 3 years with his disciples were out trying to reach people for Christ? You never criticize him. No. You want to criticize someone in today's world who's trying to copy the church in the book of Acts, who daily went house to house, soul winning, went house to house, or daily they preached the gospel. You don't get on them for that. So don't tell me, don't get on us when we're trying to keep people out of hell, trying to build a church because we believe in a real place called heaven where our rest will eventually come. You can go ahead and criticize and live like the world, but I'm telling you, you know you're wrong. You'll play and destroy your life. One day what will happen is you'll sit there and one day you'll get old and you'll look back. You've lost your grandchildren. You've lost your children. You've lived your worldly life and you've allowed compromise in. I'm telling you right now, you don't get close to God without getting in the yoke with him and working with him. Now, Christian, do you want to have a close relationship with God? If you do, then build something by getting in the yoke with him and working many hours to build it. Hey, Sunday school teacher, you're not going to build your class by visiting or soul winning 1 hour a week. Hey, great Sunday school classes are built by Sunday school teachers who treat their class like they're starting a church, and they give many hours to see it grow. Bus captain, you'll never build your bus route by visiting 1 or 2 hours a week. Not going to do it. They're built by people who give their lives for their route. Let me ask you something. Do you love those children? Do you love those people? Do you love their soul? Then why would the hours working trying to get them to come and trying to win people to Christ? Why would that bother you, Pastor? You can go to all the preaching conferences to learn how to grow a church. But I've learned that you grow a church by soul winning many hours a week, by working many hours a week, by praying many hours a week. You're not going to do it by Saturday night, all of a sudden, you got to put a sermon together. My friend, if that is you, I'm telling you, you're way behind in the ministry. You cannot get in the yoke with Christ and not see God do something mighty through you if you get in that yoke with him. But remember, Jesus said we can do greater works than he, because those greater works are done by working many hours with him. A yoke, when Jesus says, get in the yoke, he says, take my yoke upon you. I've got news for you. You don't get in a yoke to play. You get in a yoke to work. That means this. If I get in the yoke with Christ, I'm working for him 24/7, 365. I know. Go ahead, criticize. Go ahead, lazy Christian. Go ahead. Those who are losing your family to the world. Go ahead, churches that are dying. Go ahead. You who are trying to change your churches to look like the world. You got your drum sets and your colored lights, and you've got your little play games, and you've canceled Sunday school, and you've canceled your soul winning and your bus rides. Go ahead, criticize. But you'll one day, 10, 15 years down the road, you will look back. When you've lost your children who want nothing to do with church, that look like the world, one day you'll look back and you'll say, boy, I was wrong. And I'm telling you, there's many a person that has lost their children to the world because they want to play their way through life. Why you got to put too much pressure on me. No, I'm not putting pressure on you. I'm trying to save your family, trying to save your life, trying to get you close to God, because we get close to God by working with him. You'll never be close to God without working with him in his yoke. I hope this is a help to you today. Now let's remember today, be good to everyone. Everyone's having a tough time. Have a great day, my friend.